And another team was kind of playing spoiler. We thought we were on a collision course for BYU and Colorado in the Big 12 title game. Well, maybe not.
They may be more than a spoiler.
Maybe not.
There's a road here.
There is a road for Arizona State because they beat Kansas State, number 16, Kansas State, 24-14. And all of a sudden, that Arizona State against BYU game could be for a spot in the Big 12 title game next week. A massive, massive game between Arizona State and Kansas State. Let's go over this game first. With Arizona State, their highest grade players, Jordan Tyson, a guy you'll talk about, Dalton, 82.7 grade, the wide receiver. Xavier Alford, the safety, 79.7. Shamari Simmons, the cornerback, 74.8. CJ Fight at a 74.7. Justin Watley at a 74.5. And how about Sam Levitt, man? 89.3 grade in the win over K-State. It's kind of been a theme for him. He's been on fire lately for the Sun Devils. Let's go over to Kansas State, though, with their highest grade players. Austin Romaine, the linebacker, 78.8 grade. Dante Cephas, 77.6, the wide receiver. Brendan Mott, the edge defender, 73.4. Austin Moore, another linebacker, at a 73. DJ Giddens at a 71.5. And Avery Johnson, I'll shout him out a little bit here, 77.5 grade. Dawn, probably his best game I've seen from him as a passer, I would say, in this game. He made some nice throws in this one.
Yeah, he did, especially, I thought, in the second half when they were trying to make the big comeback. They're down 24-0. And the interception at the end hurts. I think what hurt him even more is the missed field goal that came right before that could have put him within 7. But no, I mean, Johnson, he had a pretty good game as a passer. He had to try to get him back into this, but it's not usually how K-State prefers to operate with him in the drop back game. For sure.
Definitely. So, Dalton, for you, the stat that told the story in this K-State loss.
And I will go with that. I will go with what I'll just call the Kansas State formula. There is a clear formula for their wins.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Get out ahead, run the football, get the three-headed monster going. And I think it really hurt him that Dylan Edwards got hurt early in this game. I think we saw him pull up kind of probably with a hamstring or something like that on a run early in the first quarter. But just they never got to the formula, right? And then there's a formula for Kansas State losses, which, the Houston game was a little bit different. A couple of late turnovers really hurt them. But if you want to beat Kansas State, you got to stop the run early. You got to get out ahead. You got to limit possessions and time of possession. And even then, the turnovers, they kind of come and go for Avery Johnson, right? So all of those things occurred in this game, all right? Kansas State, the rushing totals for the game are going to look good. They only had 28 rushing yards in the first half, okay? Their first 6 drives, interception, turnover on downs, 3 and out, a Jace Brown fumble, a field goal with a bad snap that they got no points on a good drive, and then another 3 and out to start the second half. And I mean, any game where Kansas State only has the ball for 23 minutes is going to be a problem.
Yeah,
that's just not how they function. And I know Johnson was pretty good in this game and made a couple big-time throws, but Kansas State can't function from behind like this. It's just not. If they fall behind 24-0, they're not equipped to come back.
No.
We saw this in the BYU game when BYU jumped on them eventually, especially in the third quarter. And in this game, it was early. Arizona State came out with the right game plan. They were spectacular, especially in the front 7 in the first half. Sam Levitt made big plays in the passing game because we really, a lot of times we think with Arizona State, especially coming into the year, and as the year went on, well, it's going to be, Cam Scadaboo carrying them, and then Sam Levitt does enough. Well, it was the other way around in this game. Sam Levitt was spectacular. They jumped out ahead, and if you jump out ahead of Kansas State, you're in a really good position.
And the thing is with Avery Johnson, too, this is as good as you can hope for as a passer from him. And if this is the best you can hope for, honestly, then all of a sudden you look at it and say, okay, you only scored 14 points. You need more than that.
And they were late. They were late. And they didn't score for, 2.5, almost 3 quarters.
It was only his second game this year. We had an 80-plus passing grade. And the only one was against West Virginia. And West Virginia's got maybe the worst secondary in college football this year, or at least a Power 4, right? So that's a problem. And Avery Johnson, again, shout him out because he did play really well as a passer. But as a runner, they just shut it down. And Dawn, that goes into my stat to tell the story here. The EPA per play difference in the first half, Arizona State beat them by .946 EPA per play. So Arizona State, 0.376 EPA per play in the first half. Kansas State, negative .570 in the first half. It was 21-0 at halftime. And like you said, Kansas State, they are not built to overcome a 21-point deficit. Not a lot of teams are built to overcome that, but especially not Kansas State, a team that wants to grind out a game and run the football. Arizona State in that first half, 5.8 yards per play. Kansas State, 3.8 yards per play in the first half. Arizona State in the first half, 0 turnovers. Kansas State, 2 turnovers in the first half. And like I said, 15 carries for 28 yards for Kansas State in that first half. Only less than 2 yards per carry It's just you can't do it. Like that's Kansas State's formula. Like you said, is winning off the run game. You stop that, you're going to beat Kansas State almost every single time, honestly, out there. So they found more of it in the second half, but by then it was too little too late for the Wildcats, honestly. So a little bit of a comeback in the second half, but it was over at halftime, honestly, because we knew 21-0. If you go up by 20 against Kansas State, they are not built to overcome that.
No, they just can't do it. Their passing game is RPO and play action. It's not standard drop back. It's just not going to work for them.
Yeah, give me the most impressive part, though, of this ASU victory.
I'll tell you who can suddenly just drop back and throw the football, apparently, is Arizona State. And I'll tell you what, I'm going to go with the receiver end of this. Jordan Tyson is an emerging star at wide receiver for them. 12 catches, 173 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 82.4 receiving grade. Now, I want to point out his last, I believe it's his last 5 games here, okay, since week 7. He has the highest receiving grade in the country, 88.5. And he's got at least 80 yards in every single one of those games. This is an emerging star, and the one thing I want to say with him is earlier in the year, more of a slot weapon, right, playing in the slot a lot. The last couple weeks, he set new season highs in his percentage of snaps played on the outside. They're starting to move him around the formation more. And it might even be a thing I dig into on the preview. We got to decide which sides of the ball and stuff that we're doing. But this is something I need to look into with Arizona State, because moving Jordan Tyson around in multiple spots in the formation has completely unlocked their passing game. And obviously Sam Leavitt's been fantastic too. But Jordan Tyson, it felt like he was open at will in this game. He was the best player on the field, I thought.
Yeah, he was really good. And Leavitt, is an argument for Leavitt too, his quarterback. 88.9 passing grade for Sam Leavitt in this game. 21 for 34 for 272 yards, 3 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. He had a big-time throw as well. Only credit the offensive line as well, because Sam Leavitt held onto the football for an average of 3.3 seconds in this game. So credit to them for holding up, but K-State's obviously pass rush has not been really great all year. Dalton, back-to-back games for Sam Leavitt with an 85-plus grade. He had 0 in his career before this. And essentially, before these last 2 weeks, we talk about Arizona State's offense. We go, okay, how far can Cam Scatterbo take you? Honestly, that's the key. Now you got a legit quarterback in Sam Leavitt. I mean, this kind of quarterback play, they're a dangerous team right now, man. And also, redshirt freshman Sam Leavitt. Young kid, too. This is a guy, Dawn, we're talking a lot about the 2026 quarterback class and how kind of figuring out who's going to be in there. Like, okay, Arch Manning, maybe Nico, if he can improve, can be up there as well. We're going to talk a lot about Sam Leavitt, man. And shout out to Drake Holiday, our guy in the chat, ASU alum, or ASU fan at least. He's saying, hey, this guy might be a pro prospect to watch out for in 2026. And if he keeps playing like this, absolutely is a pro prospect to watch out for. And I want to just say, listen, he's not a guy who's going to make too many jaw-dropping plays. Like, when I watched his tape back from last night, not a lot of amazing throws out there, but he's efficient, and he's not making any game-losing plays either. So shout out to Sam Leavitt for back-to-back games, 85-plus passing grade. He is a major, major reason why, honestly, probably the reason why, with Cam Scatterbo missing last week, they could make the Big 12 title game now because of Sam Leavitt.
Leavitt, that same stretch since week 7 that I've talked about, and he missed one game in there, the loss to Cincinnati when he was hurt.
Yeah.
He's tied with Curtis Rourke for second in overall grade among quarterbacks in that stretch.
Wow.
Who's first? Who's
first? Is it Cam?
No, it's Max Brosmer, actually, from Minnesota.
Oh, shout out, dude. All
playing
right.
really well
Hell
for
yeah.
Minnesota. Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, that'll be something we get into this week too. But no, it's Brosmer and then Rourke and Sam Leavitt tied for second since week 7, and that gives you an idea of how well he's playing. And if they're going to play as well as they have the last 2 weeks, we got a real ball game with BYU next week. And again, you got 2 teams. Arizona State doesn't control their own destiny. I was looking into this last night. I believe they need Iowa State to lose another game. The tiebreakers are kind of weird with like common opponents and weird stuff because Iowa State beat Cincinnati last night and then Arizona State lost to them. There's some weird stuff with the tiebreakers, but I think they need an Iowa State loss. But Arizona State's very much in the thick of it, and Kenny Dillingham's done just a spectacular job with this team. They're 8-2. It's unreal.
Yeah, and they were horrible 2 years ago. Even last year,
they played hard last year, but they still only won 3 games. He's changed the entire culture of that team, and now they're talented. Leavitt and Tyson is probably the quietest quarterback receiver combination that we need to know down the stretch of the season.
And he's a young guy too, Kenny Dillingham is, and he was a guy that at Oregon, I just loved the scheme he ran with Bo Nix there as the offensive coordinator, and obviously going to Arizona State where he was an alum of as well. It's been awesome to see what he's been doing there. And Drake Holiday is an alum of Arizona State, so shout out to Drake Holiday in the chat. He's always been in the chat for basically all season. And Sun Devils now, man. Dangerous team now.
Oh, it's real. I honestly, I actually think beyond the Indiana-Ohio State game, I think that's the second biggest game in college football next week.
And listen, we're not revealing the entire top 25 today. They'll come out on PFF.com tomorrow morning. Arizona State's in the top 20 now. I'll put that right there.
Well, if you have a road to a conference title, you have a road to a playoff. Arizona State going into Week 13 is a playoff team.
Hell yeah. This 12,
unreal.
I was told, Dalton, this 12-team playoff would ruin college football.
Yeah, that's what it's
on the
doing.
contrary. Yeah,
I
think on the contrary.
Right.
This rules, dude. This rules.
We've got BYU and Arizona State, Indiana,
and Colorado. Come on now.
12-teamers, awful. What a bad idea.
Yeah, NIL is ruining the sport. 12-team playoffs. Yeah, to hell with that, man. Hey, thanks for watching another episode of the PFF College Football Show. Please make sure you guys subscribe to the channel.
Also, subscribe to PFF Plus at subscribe.pff.com for all of the same data and grades that we use in our show, plus fantasy tools, betting tools, and our mock draft simulator.